I want to start with Hong Kong because my heart just pours out for the people in Hong Kong. When I was in Japan several years ago, I was there with Jenny Terre. She's a writer at saracarter.com. Don't forget to go there and look at all the latest stories. But I was in Japan. I also went to Korea, and I had an opportunity during that time to become very good friends, actually, with Andy Chan, who has since been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. He's a wonderful human being. He headed the Hong Kong National Party. And think about this. He stands up to China. Can you imagine? Oh, wait, because I'm going to bring in the United States and the issues that we've been facing here as well. The extraordinarily new issues that we've never seen in the past, right? Like the fact that for some people who oppose, the Biden administration or have spoken out against it, or people who are very much loyalists, whatever, to Trump, or conservatives that don't believe and did not vote for Joe Biden, there is this huge push out there by the left-wing media and by former administration officials to basically call them and call us terrorists. It's crazy. I know. But look at what's happening in China, folks. Look at what's happening in Hong Kong. Look at how people are being silenced. You know what the Chinese government says? And this is the same thing that is happening in Myanmar. Okay, wait, I'm going to stop. I'm going to ask Greg this question. I hope Greg can come in on this. Greg, am I saying it correctly?
Myanmar.
Okay. You see, I was not saying it correctly. Myanmar. I love Greg. You guys are going to get to know him because I'm bringing him in all the time now. He's like my Encyclopedia Britannica. He is like Google. The guy knows everything. I mean, he doesn't even need to be near a computer. When I talk to him, he knows. And so Myanmar, and I apologize for anybody out there who believes that I'm still pronouncing it wrong. But these are these issues. And Taiwan, my gosh, Taiwan's not even getting the attention it needs and deserves. This is China encroaching, right? But the Chinese, and what I just brought up a second ago, that China uses the excuse. It's like, oh, these are terrorists. These people in Hong Kong are terrorists. I want you to hear Andy Chan, my good friend, when I interviewed him. This was while I was in Korea. I want you to hear this interview with Andy Chan. I remember giving up actually my speaking. I was speaking to young students in Korea, actually, and I invited Andy. Andy came there to see what was going on. We were in Korea, and I asked Andy to come on stage, and I literally gave up my time speaking. So Andy, who is a hero in East Asia, could actually speak to the young Korean conservatives that were attending this event I was at. Listen to this clip.
Of course, we should connect because we have same goal. We want to dissolve China. We want to end this regime. So we have the same goal, but we are just at different region, at different geographic location, but we're fighting the same war. We have the same goal. So in Hong Kong, we protest in the street. The Tibetans, Uyghurs, they protest in their own region. The US, we can do some other things. For example, tariffs, you can fight an economic war, trade war, whatsoever. You have lots of weapons that you can use in the US. So we Hong Kong people, one of our hope is that the US will intervene and help us.
That's what he really needed. And a lot of people, including Andy, have been silenced because the threat of what can happen to them and their lives with the Chinese is unimaginable. People have disappeared. Andy's life has been under threat. He's been arrested multiple times and not arrested for doing anything outside of speaking. And I want you to think about what is happening in our own country. I know you're busy, you're working, you're raising children, you're just trying to make ends meet. We all are. We're living in a global pandemic, where, my gosh, we've lost our businesses. So many of our friends have lost their jobs. So many people have lost their lives. We don't even know if we're being told the truth anymore. We just can't even ask the questions. My good friend Steve Hilton, the host of The Next Revolution on Fox News, and I love to do a show. It's on Sundays. He's tackling one of the big questions about the COVID pandemic, right? about the COVID. He's one of the very few that are actually speaking up, going over the State Department reports, interviewing reporters who are investigating. What did China do with the COVID pandemic? How did this start? Did China have any responsibility? Did it come from a lab? Because remember in the very beginning, it was like, my gosh, you were a conspiracy theorist if you even questioned it. I don't even know how that got started. That's insanity, folks. Just talk to people like Andy Chan. Talk to people like my friend Yoko Ishii in Japan, who stands up for Andy. And who, by the way, YouTube demonetized me. I want you to know this. I need to come out and just tell you what happened to me. YouTube demonetized me from their platform. Not because I interviewed Rudy Giuliani before, not because of anything, because I didn't really go into the whole, election fraud as much as others. It didn't have anything to do with that. It had to do with my interview with Yoko Ishii. That's it. I interviewed Yoko Ishii and she talked about China and against China and against what China is doing and its encroachment. And we've seen what they have been able to do. And I'm going to go into that momentarily on Taiwan. And I'm going to read you a little bit about what happened in Myanmar, just in case you don't know what happened there. But a U.S. company, basically, this is big tech, censored me because they want me to pull my interview off. They don't want you to know the truth about China. Just the fact how China encroaches on the lives of civilians, right? This is why thousands of people, if what Yoko Ishii is saying is not true, if what her and her husband are doing to fight for the people of Hong Kong is not true, then why are thousands of people fleeing Hong Kong? Why are they? And why would YouTube try to censor me on that? Censoring me. Whatever, the $2 that they want me to make on YouTube. But what if they take away the platform from me? Let me tell you a little bit about Myanmar's military. It staged a coup Monday, just in case you didn't know, and it detained senior politicians, including a Nobel laureate. This is a sharp reversal of the significant, if uneven, progress toward democracy in the Southeast Asian nation has made following 5 decades of military rule. This is a story coming from the AP. An announcement read on military-owned Maiwadi TV, and I probably pronounced that wrong, Maiwadi TV said Commander-in-Chief Senior General Ming Aung Hlaing, and again, I'm pronouncing everybody's name wrong, but just pretend like I'm pronouncing them correctly, would be in charge of the country for 1 year. So they're going to basically lock down the nation for 1 year, because they don't want anyone, right, to speak out or act up. Otherwise, they're what? Terrorists? They want to ensure that the population doesn't speak out against what happened. That is really frightening stuff. And you don't think it can happen here. My God, look at what's happening in the United States. We have been speaking out about, the most important part, I believe, of our U.S. Constitution is our First Amendment freedoms, our ability to speak out, our ability to say what we feel. It may not always be right. You may disagree with it. You could be crazy, right? You could be just talking crazy, but you're not inciting violence. You're not doing anything bad. But can you imagine? Now people who are speaking out literally are being called terrorists by former senior administration officials who are now going to be in the administration. We're going to be talking about Peter Strzok and the crazy position his wife is going to get. Oh yeah, he's still married to his wife. It's like they're rewarding all the people who trampled the Constitution. And the reason I'm talking to you about China and Taiwan and Hong Kong is that this will affect our lives. Our entire country is changing. President Trump wanted to hold China accountable. This administration will not. Huawei will come into our country, the big 5G, right? I've had Brenton Carr on this show multiple times. Remember, he warned us. He warned us about what China was doing in the United States, about the towers they were building in Montana where there was nobody around, except our nuclear facilities. You guys, China is moving, and it is moving quick. It's like when you see something happening, but you don't quite know what it is. Listen to what happened in Taiwan. Here's Taipei, a story out of Taipei. 6 Chinese fighter aircraft and a U.S. reconnaissance aircraft entered the southwestern corner of Taiwan's air defense identification zone on Sunday. The island's defense ministry said, do you understand what that is? China literally encroached and said, no more Taiwan. We own you. Tensions have spiked over the last week or so after Taiwan reported multiple Chinese fighters and bombers flying into the zone last weekend in an area close to the Taiwan-controlled Pratas Islands in the northern part of the South China Sea. And China is expanding in the South China Sea. China is moving. China has been planning this for a long time, and they see our weakness now. Are we going to be able to keep China in check? I don't think so. And look at what's happening in our nation. Like how much we rely on China, right? How much do we rely on China just for everything? You go to Walmart, you go to Target, just go to local grocery store. That's why it was so important to bring jobs back to America. That's why America first, counted, why it matters. It's not that other people don't count. It's not that they don't count. It's that they do count, but only if we can take care of our people first, of our nation first, which is just like a melting pot of the world, right? It's the only reason people come to this country is because they want to believe that our nation's government is not corrupted like theirs, right? Which is the reason people flee places like, oh man, you know what? China is like flying fighter jets over Taiwan. I'm going to get out of here. I'm hightailing it out of here with my family because before you know it, China's going to be in here. They're going to control everything. People in Hong Kong, good fight. It was a great fight, guys. We tried marching through the streets, but guess what? Nobody else in the world wants to stand up to China. So I'm taking my visa. If I got it, I'm going to get out of here, which now China no longer recognizes, right? China's going to do whatever they want. And we cannot just be isolationists. We're going to get dragged into this. We're already being dragged into this. It's crazy. It's just crazy. That I bring it up to you. I want you to understand this. It's not about news of the day. It's about who we are as a people, what we are willing to stand up for, what we are willing to actually fight for. And you know what I mean when I use the word fight. I do not mean actually fight. Disclaimer. We have to say that now because I feel like John Brennan and his threat that the intelligence community is all over us is somehow trying to make anybody who speaks out, a terrorist or some kind of right-wing nut job. No Biden administration, no President Biden, no crazy John Brennan, former CIA director. None of us are. For the most part, we're regular, normal American citizens that want to preserve our Constitution and the foundation of this country for our children and future generations. We were given that right, not by you, but by our Creator and by our Constitution. The founding fathers gave us that. Freedom is precious, and we should not allow our government to take that away from us. And it is the reason why so many people overseas, like in Taiwan and Hong Kong and all these other places around the world, in Myanmar, are fighting for these freedoms, for essential freedoms, just to be able to speak out and to speak up. That's just, I tell you guys, I've been there. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen what life is like for people when they have nothing. And we are so blessed and we have so much. Just don't give that away.